is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdates 220104.6. You know something's truly messed up when you have essentially 3 perps for multiple crimes, with the more serious being the betrayal of an innocent that unconditionally loved them all. Misa thinking the cell's about to get very, very full. Betcha. Welcome everyone to the halls of injustice. Today we welcome 3 inmates to the ISO cubes. Their inmate numbers 109.1, 109.2 and 109.3. All 3 people are serving lengthy sentences, with the third being connected because essentially they are the reason everything happened in the first place, which sounds vague and nebulous, I am aware, but you'll understand why I've included this person as we go through the story. The story in question centers around a young boy called Arthur Hughes. If you are British, you will have heard of the story of Arthur Hughes. The inmates today are Emma Tustin, Thomas Hughes, and Olivia Lambinjo Halcrow. Thomas Hughes and Olivia are the biological mother and father of Arthur Hughes, with Emma Tustin being the stepmother. For the story we're now going to go through, we have to go back to February of 2019, where Arthur's biological mother Olivia, inmate 109.3, kills her partner Gary Cunningham by stabbing him 12 times with a kitchen knife. For this crime, inmate 109.3 was sentenced to 11 years in prison, meaning that Arthur was moved from his alcoholic mother to live with his father Thomas. Arthur and Thomas moved to the annex at the back of Thomas's parents' garden. His grandmother indicated that Arthur was nervous at first but became happy and a well-rounded child. In August 2019, Thomas Hughes met Emma Tustin on dating website Plenty of Fish, with them going on their first date in a pub. Emma Tustin failed to reveal that in 2013 she had tried to commit Sudoku. She also failed to reveal that her first 2 children went to live with their fathers. After 3 dates, Thomas Hughes introduced Emma Tustin to Arthur. In September 2019, Thomas Hughes' brother Blake said that his nephew's behavior changed quite a lot, with him indicating that his brother became more anxious at being told off while his brother became a lot stricter. There was also an incident recalled where there was an argument between Emma Tustin and Thomas Hughes because he had bought Arthur a Subway sandwich, which she had deemed an unnecessary treat. In October of 2019, Eileen Carabine, a special education coordinator at Arthur's school, had indicated that Arthur had deteriorated that month, with her also noting he had become more reserved, anxious, and not quite as smiley. In November 2019, Thomas and his mother Joanne met with Arthur's school to discuss their growing concerns about Arthur's behavior, with the teachers indicating that Arthur was having nightmares and spoke of his father killing him. Emma Tustin became pregnant with Hughes but had a miscarriage. In December of 2019, Arthur had become upset during a Christmas nativity when the baby was taken out of its crib. In this same month, in the annex at the back of his parents' garden, Thomas Hughes had proposed to Emma Tustin. There is one additional detail I want to mention that I forgot. Emma Tustin is a mother of 4, with 2 of her children not living with her. I do not know how many partners, it doesn't really matter, but it does matter that 2 of her kids did live with her, and 2 did not. I also want to add that there are 4 warning signs. 4 of them. These 4 incidents and warning signs should have been when something was done to protect Arthur. Hindsight and all that. In 2020, these all happen, and nothing happens in response. So once we've gone through the events of 2020, I'm going to insert these as well. So on to 2020. In January of 2020, Arthur's school began to raise a number of concerns about him, including a clinginess and obsession with soft toys. In February of 2020, Emma Tustin took Arthur with her to have her hair done. During this time, she made Arthur sit at a table with his hands on his knees and instructed him not to move. In March of 2020, Thomas Hughes and Arthur Hughes moved to Emma Tustin's home in Solihull. Wasn't that where Verthi Cuddy went to celebrate her 19th birthday while neglecting a child? Interesting. On April 16th, 2020, Arthur's paternal grandmother Joanne Hughes made a call to Solihull Council's emergency team to report bruises on his shoulders. When social workers went to visit the home, they failed to spot them. That is warning sign number 1. On April 17th, Jane Kavanagh and her support worker Angela Scarlett Coppage were the ones that reported no concerns. On April 20th, a desperate Joanne Hughes tells Arthur's school about the referral to social services she had made 4 days earlier. Michelle Hull, safeguarding lead at Dickens Health Community Primary School, contacts social services but is told they have no concerns, with them being told that the bruises had been caused by play. That is warning sign number 2. On 2 further unspecified dates in April, Thomas Hughes fobs off Arthur's school in online messages insisting he is doing grand. Online school because COVID lockdowns happened in March of 2020. On the second unspecified date, Arthur's uncle Daniel Hughes tries to alert police to Arthur's bruises, but is instead threatened by the police that he will be arrested if he tries to go back to the youngster's home. That is warning sign number 3. The final warning sign came during May or June, and we're not sure when. John Dutton, Tustin's stepfather, made an anonymous call to social services concerning the treatment and state of Arthur. Nothing came of it. They are the 4 warning signs you need to know about. And by the way, this is the bruise they claimed was caused by play. On June the 8th, Arthur's school had reopened, but Thomas Hughes did not send his son back, claiming that Arthur had had a bad night's sleep and would send him back the next day. Arthur would never return to that school. On June the 12th to June the 15th, Arthur spent more than 35 hours in isolation in the hallway. On Friday, Arthur was made to stand in the hall for 14 hours 19 minutes as Emma Tustin ate McDonald's with her son in the living room. On Saturday, Arthur was made to stand in the hall for 11 hours and 49 minutes. In the video, Hughes can be seen slapping him around the head while Emma Tustin grabbed him by the scruff of his neck as she marches him from the kitchen to the hallway. The couple then spent their time in the garden hot tub while eating ice creams. On Sunday, Arthur was in the hallway for 10 hours and 54 minutes and made to wear a fleece onesie. It was exceptionally warm, by the way. It was mid-June after all. On June the 15th, Emma Tustin is seen waking Arthur up at 7:06 a.m. by ripping his bedding from underneath him. In one final video, Arthur struggled to pick up the duvet from the living room floor where he had been forced to sleep. On June the 16th, Arthur suffered a unsurvivable injury caused by Emma Tustin banging his head on a hard surface. And sadly, on June the 17th, 2020, Arthur's life support was switched off and he passed away in hospital. Before we go through what happened next, I now want to focus on the 4 missed opportunities, as there is some injustice in there as well. So the first one, Joanne Hughes, Arthur's paternal grandmother, made a call to Solihull Council's emergency team on April the 16th to report bruises on his shoulders. She informed them that Arthur had said the injuries were caused by Emma Tustin grabbing him to the face, calling him names and pushing him with him bumping his head on the stairs. Social worker Jane Kavanagh and support worker Angela Scarlett Coppage went to the family home in Shirley, Solihull the following day. Jane Kavanagh told jurors during the trial that she found Arthur playing outside with him appearing clean, happy and boisterous, with her only spotting a faint yellow mark in the middle of his back. She then spoke to Tustin and Hughes, father and stepmother, with her and Miss Scarlett Coppage forming the view that Arthur was being cared for in a happy household, who were all getting along really well. They reported no safeguarding concerns, and the case then was no longer referred for a full social services assessment, instead offering to put a support worker in touch under the early help scheme. Nothing happened. During the trial, Jane Kavanagh was shown the picture of the bruise I showed you earlier, with her being shocked at this. When asked if she could explain why she was unable to spot bruises, which had been noticeable a day earlier, she simply replied, no, saying, I was shocked and in disbelief that these photos could have been taken the day before and my colleague and I hadn't seen anything the day afterward. Arthur's maternal grandmother Madeline had indicated that Joanne Hughes and her husband Chris had visited her at her home in Birmingham in April. They showed her the photo of Arthur's bruises and asked if she knew how Arthur got them, but she couldn't have because she'd been blocked from having any contact with Arthur by Thomas and had not seen him since the 21st of October 2019. So she then made the call straight away. She also then called the police, who said they'd also gone to the house and, like social services, had no worries as the property was immaculate. Emma Tustin and Thomas Hughes indicated that any bruising he had was caused by boisterous play. An additional alarming part mentioned about this concerns his biological mother Olivia, who is noted as being an alcoholic drug user, and because of that, Arthur had been on the social services radar for 3 years prior to Emma Tustin even being involved in his life. The second missed chance. On April 20th, Joanne Hughes told Arthur's school about the referral to social services she had made 4 days earlier. Michelle Hull, safeguarding lead at Dickens Health Community Primary School, contacted social services to alert them to the report. Michelle Hull told jurors that Joanne Hughes had phoned the school to make them aware that she had concerns about Arthur and had made a multi-agency safeguarding hub referral, with Michelle Hull being quoted as saying, "She said, Joanna Hughes, that she had seen Arthur and he had bruises on, I think it was his back. She said she had seen the bruises." Michelle Hull then said Arthur's grandmother had also voiced concerns about Emma Tustin's mental health and that she was being a coercive partner and that the relationship wasn't a positive one. Jonas Hankin QC, who was prosecuting, asked Michelle Hull whether social services had explained to her the nature of the checks they carried out on Arthur while visiting him at home. Michelle Hull had indicated that they had seen Arthur play and that the injuries were from boisterous play, and that the family relationship seemed okay and they had no concerns. She was also asked if support workers had given further details about the injuries she had seen, with Michelle Hull indicating that she thought that they were referring to the bruises on the back, and that the social workers did not have any concerns about the parenting by Emma Tustin. She was also told that she was not allowed to share any information with Arthur's grandmother because of parental consent, which had not been given to share that information. Instead, Michelle Hull volunteered for the school to stay involved and just do check-ins with the family, which Thomas Hughes had consented to. When asked why she made that offer, Michelle Hull said because they were a family we had taken in and nurtured. And that's very much how our school works. The third missed opportunity comes from Daniel Hughes, Arthur's uncle, who had indicated that he had photos of the youngster's bruises and showed them to the police but heard nothing back. Daniel then went to other relatives to try and visit Arthur at home to confront Emma Tustin and Thomas Hughes. After the attempted visit, they then contacted West Midlands Police to report the concerns, but instead of taking any action, an officer threatened him with arrest for breaking COVID rules if he tried to visit the house again. Daniel then told the jurors that a reluctant police worker eventually agreed to receive photos of the child's bruises, which then led to silence. After Arthur's passing, a neighbor wrote on Facebook claiming they had also informed the police he was being abused, writing, "I rang the police, I rang child services, they did nothing as a result, the toddler has died. Solihull Child Services make me feel sick." West Midlands Police as a consequence have been investigated of their handling of the case by the Independent Office of Police Conduct, who are now due to release their findings at some point soon. The fourth missed opportunity, John Dutton, Tustin's stepfather, told jurors that he had made a call to social services weeks before Arthur collapsed with fatal brain injuries. Asked why he made the referral, John Dutton told the court, "I thought he was in danger," indicating that Thomas Hughes dished out the discipline on visits to his home and admitted slashing Arthur's beloved Liverpool and Birmingham City football shirts. He also said that during one visit during the first COVID lockdown, Thomas Hughes confessed how he had gone to town on Arthur, with John Dutton saying he told us that he had gone to town on him, and when he had done it, he went up to the shower and cried his eyes out. When asked by prosecutor Jonas Hankin what John Dutton took that to mean, he said, "Belt the life out of him," adding, "I was just shocked, he didn't seem the type." John Dutton also told the court that after the call he stopped allowing Arthur into his house because his wife was distressed at how he was being treated, indicating that Arthur was ordered to sit at a table and face the wall for hours like a zombie whenever he was brought over to their home. Down below I'm going to link some videos that are highly distressing. They themselves have trigger warnings. These videos show Arthur in various stages of distress. They show him struggling. They have him say something that quite frankly tears at most people, simply saying, "I just want a family that loves me," and being laughed at for it. Shortly after his passing, by the hands of Emma Tustin, the police arrive at the property, and through the body cam footage, Emma Tustin said the following to the police officer.
Just briefly, what happened?
Basically, he'd gone out to get me a birthday cake for the kids. Arthur was told to sit on the thinking step. Arthur's put himself all over the floor. He's banged himself the radiator. He's hit me. He's kicked me in the process of me trying to get him back on the thinking step. He's then gone on all fours on the floor, and I've told him to get up. And I shut the door over, and all I heard was a crack off the floor. He was headbutting the floor on all fours. Headbutted the floor once, said, "Arthur, get up, you're going to hurt yourself. I've phoned your dad." He went, "I don't care." At that point, he was fine. And then he dropped his head again as I've tried to bear hug him and pick him up, and he headbutted the floor 3 times.
Here on this carpet?
Round about, the door was shut, so if you go in, I'll show you. It's probably about here his head was, but it's concrete, there's no underlay under that.
Arthur was 6 years old when he died. The injuries he sustained were catastrophic. This was a lie. She continues on with this story about how he harmed himself to then finish with a doozy, which is also a lie.
Like I say, he's like the last 6 months, he's battered both my kids. He's smashed this house to pieces. He's battered his dad. He's hit me. When I tried to get him off the floor from headbutting the floor, he headbutted me and he kicked me and he's hit me. Yesterday we went to my friend's house and he pushed me down 5 stairs. You're not my real mum, I hate you. I'm gonna get my mum to kill you, he said.
During a post-mortem, it was discovered that Arthur Hughes had suffered from 130 separate injuries, and that hours before his collapse, he had actually been poisoned with salt. During questioning, Thomas Hughes alleged that Emma Tustin mentally abused and gaslighted him into complying with the punishing disciplinary regime, but also admitted that he lied to school staff who were checking on Arthur's progress during the first COVID lockdown, also conceding that he had placed the couple's relationship above the welfare of his son, probably. Emma Tustin made 200 audio recordings of Arthur. In the majority of them, he was crying and moaning during punishments, claiming that she only did this to send them to Thomas Hughes in order to demonstrate the boy's naughty behavior while he was absent. Emma Tustin also accepted that being cruel to Arthur on occasions, she did so while pregnant with Hughes's unborn child at the time, and that she was also disgusted and ashamed of her admitted behavior. But she did claim that Arthur had self-inflicted these by throwing himself down the staircase in the hallway, and how she had heard a bang and a crack, which is also contrary to the statement she made in the video I earlier showed you, where she indicated he was on all fours just banging his head against the floor and the radiator and everything else with a hard surface. She also claimed that even though the experts indicated that his head trauma was inflicted by an adult, that doesn't make it true. During the trial, it was pointed out that Arthur had been made to stand in a model posture likened in court to a soldier on guard outside Buckingham Palace, which after much discussion, Emma Tustin had to agree that was what she was doing, telling the court, "I can hear that now, but when I was there I just thought he was acting like a baby. At the time, because of how much we had going on with Arthur, I didn't recognize it." Also claiming that with all the neglect that took place, that she now felt like absolute crap. It was suggested by Mr. Hankin, the QC prosecuting, that Emma Tustin had developed a hatred for Arthur, who viewed him as an obstacle to her relationship with Thomas Hughes. Emma Tustin and Thomas Hughes denigrated, debased, and dehumanized Arthur Hughes, taking everything away that he loved, with them turning him into a sad, thin, weak, miserable child that was tortured and poisoned on a regular basis. Emma Tustin was found guilty of committing the murder. Thomas Hughes was convicted of manslaughter. And yes, with that we come to sentencing. Thomas Hughes was sentenced to life after being found guilty of manslaughter. Emma Tustin was given a life sentence as well for the murder of Arthur Hughes. We here at the Halls of Injustice believe that should be whole life, without the single possibility of parole, because I don't believe either should ever leave a cell. Somewhat interestingly, there has been consequences for Emma Tustin though. You see, Emma Tustin didn't tell her cellmate what she was in for. In fact, she had told her cellmate, who's now an ex-cellmate, that her partner had committed the murder and she was there as guilt by association. But when they found out, the fellow inmates that is, things changed for her, because her fellow cellmates attempted to lace her food with salt, a callback to what she had done to Arthur Hughes after learning what she had done to him. So since that, Emma Tustin, for her own protection, has been moved to isolation, where she is now under 24-hour observation to also ensure that she does not self-harm. As a touching tribute to Arthur Hughes, on the 6th minute of play, football teams simply stopped and held a minute's applause for Arthur Hughes, who I think we can all agree deserved much better than what he got from Emma Tustin and Thomas Hughes.
Love you, Arthur. We do. Oh, Arthur, we